All right, y'all, we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business. Going to check out its local search and its city search, see if either of them or both of them or any of them got BSS. So we're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. And more about that, pinned video, home post somewhere on this profile. And this is because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our FSIC graph here in white. Over on the left, we got the highest intent peeps, Google searchers, social searchers, searching for a boudoir photo shoot in their city today, right now. Focus on talk about BSS here in all our videos. Over on the right, we got the lowest intent peeps, peeps that ain't searching for a boudoir photo shoot in their city right now. And actually, most of them have no idea what the heck boudoir even is. We reach them through interruption ads on Instagram and Facebook. And we talk about that over on our sister brand, profiles, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we talk about BLCS. And over there, we currently only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. All right, so BSS is boudoir search sameness. That is when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google. If we got 0 slots on page 1 on Google, man, we're basically already dead here. Because we now have the data, we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never even go to page 2. They're page 1 and done searches only. So approximately 80% of the marketplace. So that's the bulk of the marketplace. So we're invisible to 4/5 of people from page 2 or deeper. So we got to get on page 1. But 1 slot on page 1, that ain't enough. Because guess what? There's 10 organic slots on page 1, which means, if there's 9 other boudoir photographers, everyone's got 1 slot. Everyone looks the same. No one stands out. So guess what? A buyer's simply going to click down through everyone, open everyone's website, do price quotes, price shop, price compare, negotiate, and that kills our margins. And since we don't look any different, we do not want either of these scenarios. Now, 0 1 slots on page 1 Google is actually not normal. It is the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation. So that's more boudoir photographers entering the marketplace every single week. It seems like basically, anytime anyone gets a new iPhone or new camera, new gear, they're throwing up their Google My Business profile saying they shoot boudoir. They're throwing a website saying they shoot boudoir, and they are throwing up they're posting them on Facebook groups saying they're now for boudoir photo shoots. So the same number of sellers or large number of sellers to the same number of buyers means it's harder for every single seller. Margins compress, people disappear. And so everyone really understands market saturation. It happened in a big way with COVID. People lost their jobs, so they still had to work. Everyone's got a phone with a great camera. Okay, easy to start a boudoir photography business. Market saturation. Now, the one most people don't know about is the false belief of page 1 equality. So it seems like a lot of boudoir photographers simply kind of, passively accept that, as a boudoir photographer, you're going to get either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google, and that's simply how it is. But what actually happens is, let's say you got 1 slot on page 1 on Google, you're on like slot 8. A few new boudoir photographers into the market pushes our website back to slot, whatever, somewhere on page 2. And boudoir photographers are like, oh, well, that's how it is. You normally get either 0 or 1 slots page 1 on Google, and that's simply how it is. And this is 100% incorrect. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days. So I know it's false this is a false belief of page 1 equality, that a boudoir photographer gets 0 1 slots and that's it, because I went and did the opposite. So what I discovered was that Google will actually give as many slots on page 1 as somebody wants to put in the effort to acquire. So okay, now we can build a solution around this, and we've done that. See that in 2 pictures. Now, a boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer at DBP. And if we got 0 slots on page 1, we're on page 2 or deeper, invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. Obviously, we're disappearing. But if we're on page 1, we got 1 slot, we're still basically invisible. It's basically disappearing, being price shopped against everyone. Both cases are bad. And we care about disappearing boudoir photographer because if we are a disappearing boudoir photographer, that means our it's kind of like the warning light, the flashing check engine light the warning signal saying, hey, our boudoir photography business itself is on the path to actually disappearing. But thankfully, we now have a solution. We've discovered through testing that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology. And S-cubed methodology, I mean, it works exactly as the name says. We saturate social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords. So we show up there when they search them. And when we do this, when we saturate social search, that's kind of like all the snow on the backside of the Andes Mountains, the east side, down in South America. That snow melts, goes into small streams, flows into small streams, small rivers. That's social search saturation. And then that all flows into the Amazon River. That's page one search on Google is the Amazon River. So it all starts with saturating social search. And the interesting thing about SQ methodology is it's the only thing that I've seen that can allow the photography business to continue to grow in the face of market saturation and even massive market saturation. The only other second thing that could allow that is having a large, well-known brand. So brand would obviously solve that, but that takes 5 to 10 years to acquire. We don't have 5 to 10 years. AI is here taking people's jobs. We need to dominate fast and fight against market saturation as fast as possible. And something that kind of looking at estimates here, I believe SQ methodology can actually help people build a brand actually approximately 8x faster than normal methods because we're showing up so frequently on so many different surfaces. So it's kind of like the only turbo brand builder boost thing out there. So imagine if you've got a large well-known brand and you're using SQ methodology, you're basically untouchable by market saturation. So an example of still growing in the face of market saturation, let's say we're in a boudoir. Let's say we're in, I want to go to Virginia Beach, Virginia. Let's say we're in Virginia Beach, Virginia. There's 1 million boudoir photographers there. Each boudoir photographer has their own websites and a boudoir. Everyone's fighting for those 10 organic page one slots on Google. Massive competition. And what actually happens is we're like, man, the only way we can compete, well, if we had brand, but we ain't got that large, well-known brand. So the only other second option is we got to utilize SQ methodology. So we take it, we crank it up to the max. And when we crank it up to the max, let's say we're ranking for the first 300 slots for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords across all of social search. And when we do that, let's say that flows out onto Google, and we saturate the first 300 slots, page one of first 300 slots of Google for those highest intent boudoir buyer searches. And it's 10 organic slots per page on Google, so that means we're taking up literally the first 30 pages. And so for any boudoir buyers out there, anywhere they search, social search, Google search, we're basically the only boudoir photographer that pops up. We've literally taken all the slots from everyone else. I mean, this would be SQ methodology to the ultra super max. But if we're essentially the only one being found, whose business is growing? Ours. In the face of massive market saturation, whose business is disappearing, slowing down, vanishing? Well, it's the 999,999 other boudoir photographers that can basically only be found Google page 31 or deeper. And we already know approximately 80% of searches never even hit page 2. So like, dude, who's actually going to page 31? Ain't nobody going to page 31. Now, once you're with SQ methodology, we have page 1 visibility, P1V. So initial benefit, more slots, page 1 on Google. Second initial benefit is actually, we take those more slots on Google, actually kicking competing boudoir photographers off page 1 and putting them on page 2 or deeper, effectively making them invisible. And when we do that, we actually turn them into disappearing boudoir photographers, and eventually they'll most likely exit the market. So a lot of boudoir photographers actually get this benefit better than the first one we talked about. Now, page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So the GBC universe recommends, as a recommended minimum, of getting 3 out of 10 slots on Google page 1. And that's because if everyone else has got 1 slot, our 3 slots, we're going to dominate them, look way better. People wonder why Google's recommending us so much and be clicking through ours. And in the super rare case, someone else has 2 links. Well, guess what? We are, our 3 still looks better than there too. So we're basically dominating all scenarios here. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So this is our micro universe here. We got a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality, which now we know is false. And we now have a solution. We can utilize S-cube methodology to solve all this. Achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. All right, now my results utilizing S-cube, purely utilizing S-cube methodology for myself. So I want to, frank for the term here, BLCS Boudoir. I want to dominate page one of Google, BLCS Boudoir. So I utilize S-cube methodology. Started with 0 out of 10 links on page one of Google. Let's see what I was able to get to. So we got organic, slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So I was able to go from 0 out of 10 slots page one on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page one on Google in only 10 days. And these are my results I got purely using S-cubed methodology. Now, main event here, main course, main feast. We're going to see if this boudoir photography business has BSS for its local search, Louisville, North Carolina, or its city, kind of close to city search. All right, so first the local search, Louisville, North Carolina. And let's see, go down the organic slot. So they got one. They got, man, this actually looks a lot different than I'm used to. We got 2, we got 3, we got 4, we got 5. All right, awesome. So 5 out of 10. Great. So we do not have BSS for the local search, and we are hitting the GBC recommended minimum of at least 3 out of 10 page one slots on Google. So awesome for that. Now we'll go to the city search, kind of the closest city nearby I could find. Let's see. All right, we got 1. And all right, looks like that's it. That's it. We got 1. So we got local search, did awesome. City search, we got 1 out of 10 slots page one on Google. So we do have BSS, boudoir search sameness, and we did not hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page one slots on Google. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, you've done the local search for yourself for the highest intent buyer keywords and the highest intent, and you've done the city search for yourself for the highest intent buyer keywords, and you have BSS for one or both of them, and or you have not met the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page one Google slots for one or both of them, and you understand the market saturation. Yeah, people get new gear. Okay, more boudoir photographers always over time. It's always increasing. And you want to kick out those current competitors. And you're seeing S-cubed methodology is the only path to successfully do that. But you're also thinking ahead of, man, AI is taking more and more people's jobs, it seems, every day. So if AI is taking more and more people's jobs every day, then there's probably going to be more and more. It's going to be like the third prong of things that's pushing more boudoir photographers. And it's not just new iPhone or new camera. It's now losing jobs due to AI. So you see, okay, more and more boudoir photographers going to be entering the market. We actually want to increase the kind of pre-fortify our position before this monster tsunami or kind of this increasing wave of new boudoir photographers enters the market, competing with us for page one. Want to pre-fortify our positions and expectations. That kind of like the levees in New Orleans. I think it's like the built-up sandbag things to keep the ocean at bay because the city is below sea level. And we actually want to decide you want to pre-fortify your position, to also pre-fortify your position on Google page one to all the new boudoir photographers that will eventually be coming in because more and more people lose their job to AI. And you're also seeing, hey, S-cubed methodology is the only path for that. You've accepted that page one equality is a false belief, and Google will actually give us as many slots on page one as we want to put in the effort to take. So you've accepted the false belief of page one inequality is false. That's how you want to use S cubed methodology you see as the only solution, and you want the page one visibility. You want to become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility because you know you need this on your way to becoming the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you also want the two hidden back-end benefits of successfully executing S cubed methodology every single day, which is kind of the more we execute it, the keywords that we use that we're starting to rank for, show up social search for, saturate that, show up Google page one for. It's basically building thematic keyword columns attached to our entire internet brand, our social accounts, our website, out there in the minds of AI. So every single day we successfully execute S cubed methodology, we actually increase the probability that AI overview here recommends us, and Google still is about 90% of search, slowly decreasing every day though. So higher chance we get the one, the premium placement slot here, AA overview, because it's pulling from, our frequency, our density, our authority, our age of these different thematic keyword columns that S-Cube allows us to tackle. So increase in probability of being shown up here and increase in probability of being showing up for all the AI search apps, ChatGPT search, Claude, Perplexity, and we got Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini search. So kind of all this hidden back-end AI brain momentum every single day. It's kind of building up momentum every single day we execute S-cubed methodology. And you're seeing, since my plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city, that you decide you want to hop on this first, be a first mover, because every single day we execute S-cubed methodology correctly. We're getting the initial benefits, the quick future benefits, and the longer term momentum AI brain recommendation benefits, building up the momentum, and you're putting massive gap between you and all the current competitors, and definitely all the ones that have not entered yet, but we know they will because AI will be taking a bunch of people's jobs. And so you want all that, and you also see if some other boudoir photographer in your same city were to work with me instead, that you would actually have to figure out S-cubed methodology on your own, and you would never actually know if you've rederived it correctly. And then you'd have to go equal our execution every single day, execute an S-cubed methodology, which you'd have to equal our effort and you'd have to be confident in it, which you would not have 100% confidence because you would not know if you've even derived S-cubed methodology correctly in the first place. And to do all that effort, you would simply be maintaining the gap me and your competitor have already built up against you. To actually close the gap, you'd have to double or triple outwork us every single day to close that gap. Basically kind of steal back that thematic keyword column momentum attached to your competitor's brand in the AI brain, the AI search brain, for all these AI apps, and pull it back to your brand. And so you decide, okay, screw that. I'd rather just be the first mover and not be dealing with the laggard position of not being the #1 boudoir photographer in my city, because I know a ton of boudoir photographers going to be entering because of AI taking Peep's job. So if that's you, shoot me a DM. When I open my DMs for new patient intake, the hospital is currently closed. We're not currently taking in any new patients. But when I do open the hospital for new patient intake, shoot me a DM and we'll see if you qualify for using S-cubed methodology.